Okay, I think it's time to go ahead and get started. Okay, well, welcome everyone. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the channel. It's been a while since I've been back on Twitch, so I'm excited to give this a new shot. We got new branding, new windows, the whole thing. So, welcome to AfterCut, a show about post processing and processing post. My name is Eric. I am an editor, a photographer, cinematographer, writer, director, and fight choreographer. And the purpose for this stream and this channel and this series is we're going to be examining post-production, both in sometimes from a photography perspective, sometimes from a film perspective, to discuss the behind the scenes and the creation of work in post once we're done, once we've called cut. For a couple of reasons. One, it is a hugely essential part of the process that does not get talked about. And doesn't get the press that it deserves for being such a hugely important part of creating art. It also is a thing that if you are an editor, I know when I've worked freelance with various directors, and this is not a blanket statement, I've worked with a bunch of amazing people, but I found there's a lot of misunderstandings about the value of editing and the amount of work that goes into editing and the rates that should be paid to editors. So I wanted to bring that up as well and make that a part of this so that we can go behind the scenes. So if you're an editor, please, by all means, be part of this. Have a conversation and join in and let's talk about it. If you're a director or someone looking to hire an editor who maybe doesn't know much about the process, has never edited themselves, or wants to learn more and just kind of, or even just has tried to hire an editor and has wondered why their numbers are so high, this would be this channel might be the one for you. And just to clarify, their numbers aren't high. Editing is a hugely work-intensive process, and the rates are on the average. Most editors are underselling themselves and undercharging. But so that's one of the reasons I do it. The other reason is, again, to bring attention to post-production, because so often when there is access to post-production in projects, it's often behind a paywall. You will have tons of professional photographers out there who will have no problem sharing camera settings and sharing locations and stuff. But when it comes to, let's see how you edited it and turned the raw photo into the final product, that's where they charge, and it's, again, they deserve to make money. The economy we live in is a nightmare, but at the same time, for myself, I want to be able to share some of the behind the scenes of my process, at least, for free, and to as many people as I can. So that is why I'm here. Hopefully you're here to engage and to enjoy and to kind of share in some of the fun of editing. If you have any questions, if there's anything I'm doing that you want to know about, anything in the film industry or the photography industry that you're curious about, by all means, drop a message in chat. I would love to answer questions and engage. And if you are a creative person yourself, if you spend part of your day creating and you have an Instagram, a website, links to your stuff, by all means, please drop those in chat. I would absolutely love to be able to promote your guys' awesome work as well. So, with all that said, this is always going to be a very front-loaded kind of thing. But with all that said, today we are going to be working in Premiere. We're going to be doing some filmmaking. And we are... Actually, I don't have a clue what I titled this thing. I think I got the wrong title in this stream. Who knows? Welcome back. But, yeah, we're working in Premiere. We are working on a film called Last Wave, The Curse of the Nicolas Cage Surfboard, and we are editing a dream sequence. Or a nightmare sequence. So this will be fun. Let's go ahead and jump in and get involved. So, with the press of a button, here we go. So we're in Adobe Premiere over here. Already you can see, like, this is, I'm going to show you kind of more or less start to finish. We'll see how long the stream goes and how far I get into the editing of it. But again, part of the thing, editing takes forever. That's one of the reasons you don't hear about it too much, is because it does take months and months and months. The standard Hollywood standard for editing a feature film, like to get to the rough cut, to get to just the first version of, we put the movie together, here's a rough version, we're now going to start tweaking. before you add visual effects, before you add color, before you add music, before you add any of that stuff. The standard length to work on that is 10 weeks, full time. So, yeah, and this is a feature film as well, so there's a lot that goes into it. I've already done about 2 hours of work just sorting and organizing. And this is, just to be clear, I'm not the only one editing this movie, but this is my timeline currently with all the footage I've been bringing in. So, so we're going to talk about that. But, so I'm about 2 hours of work into this project, and we're going to start putting the scene together and see how it goes. So, where do I want to start with this? And yeah, you're going to hear all the dialogue and all the audio clicking through there. Okay, there we go. So we're gonna go up until the wake up moment for now. So here's so the first thing I do. This is I've done a couple streams on YouTube in the past about my organization in Premiere, and I will talk about that forever because it is a hugely important thing for me, and I think hugely important for most editors. But so what I do is I've got a timeline here called the workroom, and this is where I keep everything. Everything ends up in here. I never cut stuff or take stuff out of here. I copy. It's all copying. So in here I've got all the footage. I've got it synced up. I've got it like if my aspect ratio is different to the resolution of the footage, I get those things sorted out. I keep the camera audio. This is just put together as raw footage, and then I can, I'll highlight stuff. I will copy it, and then I will drop it into the timeline for the scene that I'm working on, and I will paste. There we go. So now I've got the footage in here to work on, and now I can make changes to this while still knowing that if I need to go back to something, I've got the originals in here. One thing I should probably do is, just so I know, because I'm the kind of person who needs to know the ending of things before I start putting them together. Where's the shot we're going to wake up with? It's not going to be this. There's going to be, I did a close-up, I'm sure. That's the close-up I wanted. Okay, let's take a look at this. Because these are, okay, that's the wide shot at the end of the thing. All right, let's watch these real quick just to pick out the one I want to use. All right, camera roll. You know what? Take it back. We got 3 takes of that. Okay, so I know I'm waking up in this close-up because that's the kind of dramatic thing that I want. So let's go ahead and copy that as well and bring that in, just so I know, because the first half of the scene is the nightmare. The second half is kind of the aftermath, where we find out it wasn't, it definitely wasn't real. But I want to make sure I know how that ending is going to happen. So here we go. All right. So first thing now we're in here is I'm going to take. I keep doing that. Take all the audio that I have and kind of push it up, which basically gets rid of the camera audio and gives me just the audio from our sound recorder on set. You will hear me praise multiple times over the course of any project. His name's Eric Brown, and he is a dream to work with. Okay, so that's the first thing we're doing. We're getting this got it all in there. Now I click through the footage, tap through it to see that I've got pretty much everything I want. Let's see. So yes, got all these shots. And the fun thing is, this is a nightmare, so we get to play with it. We get to do some cool work with it. But at the same time, we also get to there's some things I need to clean up and some rough patches to it. That's something I like about doing. That's another reason you don't hear a lot about editing, especially don't see a lot of it live like this. And the reason for that is you don't see full sessions. The reason for that is I'm going to make mistakes. Like that's just a fact of how this goes. I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to have to fix things, clean stuff up, and I want to make it clear that every single movie you have ever seen, the editors have gone through this process. The process of editing is removing the stuff that doesn't work and keeping the stuff that does. I'm going to bring my mic levels down. I feel like I'm clipping a bit. Okay. Yeah, so the process of editing is keeping the best and removing the stuff that doesn't work. And there's mistakes in every movie you've ever seen. Ideally, they've edited them out. But all that to say that the stuff I'm going to be editing out, the mistakes I'm going to be cleaning up, whether it's mistakes on my part as a cinematographer, because this is footage that I shot, or it's mistakes, it's actors flipping lines, or it's the boom, kind of bumping into something. None of that is to demean or degrade the amazing work of everyone who worked on this movie, and to say that they're, that this is somehow like that there's something lacking in this, or something that makes this different than any other movie. You don't see the process, so you don't often see it. All right, let's take a look here. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and bring us up to a more of a full screen kind of look. And we're just gonna watch through the footage. We're gonna start with that. Camera roll. Maybe not for the first one. No, the first one. Yeah. All right. So this is dream scene A, MOS, take one. Over here. And here's a fun filmmaking thing. So MOS has I believe stands for motor only sound, which basically goes back to the early days when film was, film cameras were either hand cranked or were had the mechanical parts whirring in them, and so you would have to, the only sound you would hear is just the hum of the camera itself. There's kind of a colloquial thing in the film industry that MOS stands for Meet Out Sound. So there's a lot of weird German influences in early cinema, and therefore that's seeped into the language. We're gonna have a lot of fun with this. There's another thing. A lot of times you will have films that in a shot like this that doesn't have dialogue, where you can where the sound you're recording on set doesn't matter as much, can be replaced in post. You will have directors you can have directors talk actors through a set, or through a shot, or through a scene. So the voice you're hearing is the voice of J.D. Wilson, who directed this movie. And this is our rehearsal take. This is us. This is us working our way through the master shot of the scene. And the fun thing about, I guess the other thing about editing, especially editing film, is how you get to understand the where to allow space for things, and what to look for in terms of why is a scene not working. And I can look at it. Yeah. So all right, so there's our first shot. That's what we call the master shot. We're gonna do multiple takes of the master, but the master is basically the shot that covers. In this case, it's not a full master because it's not covering the entirety of the scene. But a master shot is usually a wider shot that covers all the movement through a scene. And so this scene doesn't have a full master, but this is close. So anyway, you'll notice the audio sounds different now because we are running it off of. We do have a soundtrack on here. You notice I didn't say MOS because it's not without sound anymore. But yeah, so we do a rehearsal take to kind of figure out how one's going to move, where they're going to be on frame. We can tweak things as we go, and now we're going to shoot this without our director talking through it, so that we can now. We've established the movement. We've established what the space is. We've established what it looks like on camera. Now this space belongs to Joe, who's our actor, who now has the space to perform. And I'm already getting good ideas for this one. Violet? Anyway, something I was saying earlier. There we go. We've gone blue. Perfect. Is that so? We're gonna watch this, and it's gonna be like, oh, there's a whole lot of just dead air in there, and this seems slow, and this seems like it's missing something. And as an editor, first thought is, okay, trim that out, make this interesting the whole way through. But there's also a lot of merit to you have to I'm allowing space for, okay, I know the cinematographer or the composer is going to put a whole lot of great music onto this. And so I want to not only does that mean I can allow for that to happen and I don't have to worry about space like this. I mean, this shot is going on longer than it's going to in the final cut, but I can allow space like this to be. There we go, got through it. I can allow space like this, and I know the music will cover it, but also if I allow space. There we go. If I allow space for there to be music, I'm giving the composer, the same way we're giving Joe here space to perform. I'm giving the composer space to really fly with their music, especially in a dream sequence like this where it's so much more about mood than anything else. I want to give them space to make that to really set the mood because this scene belongs to them and to Joe. I hope this is interesting because there's a lot of editing is this. A lot of editing is sit and watch. So. Violet?
B. Is that you? Violet? B, are you in there?
Okay, so that's our first shot. Let's see. I'm just pulling out the script here, just because I want to double check. Okay, cool. So, and there's an interesting debate among editors about. Okay, this is B-roll, so there's no sound on this. There's a debate among editors about whether or not, and it's not. I mean, it's not a debate. It's different practices and different projects call for different approaches. But discussion among editors about how much you rely on a script when going into a film. I know there's some editors who will only look at the script if they get confused and aren't sure where things are going. There's some editors who will read the script at the beginning but then not look at it again all through post, because at some point you can actually hurt the movie you're trying to, the movie you are making by trying to stick too much to the script. If stuff changed on set, if you as the editor and the director find something new in post, you can end up kneecapping what could be a really, really great different kind of movie by trying to stick to what it originally intended to be, what it was originally intended to be. So there's a balance to keep to using the script, but I want to check. Okay. Okay, so yeah, so this scene starts with sound effects. Okay, this is the point of view shot. This is supposed to be Joe's point of view as we move in on this weird light that's going on in the closet. And there's a little bit of bounce to it. I'm going to fix that. But yeah, we're moving up on it. Showing the silhouette of the cursed surfboard that is this movie's main antagonist. Cool. No sound needed. Real quick and simple. I did not realize how freaking bouncy this this dolly was. But easy enough to fix once I picked out exactly the clips that I want. All right, real quick, let me, just so there is some kind of ongoing editing processing going on here. Do I push in again? I do. Okay, cool. So I'll come back to that in a second. All right. So first take didn't do much for me. Second take was pretty good. Okay. Second or third take, I think is what I'm going to go with. It's going to require a little bit of more creative editing, but that's actually really easy to do. So let's say, let's watch. I'm watching take 2 again because there's always going to be, every decision you make as an editor is a million decisions you didn't make in the other direction, and so I tend to get a little bit, you know, that's where editing anxiety comes from. But. And the other thing is, because I'm not using this clip in its entirety. Yeah, right now I'm going to say both of these are pretty good. All right. So this one, we do push in a second time. Let's see how that ends up looking. Need to be editing this when it's dark outside. There we go. I'm sure it's even darker for you guys. This is a weird scene to start this channel back with again. Hey guys, welcome back to the editing channel. Today we're not going to see anything. It's like we're editing the new Batman, which I did genuinely love. Just to clarify. Okay, that push-in's actually not bad. Yeah, the second one feels more haunting. So let's go ahead and isolate that. There we go, something like that. Okay, so we'll put a cut there. Take this out, of course, and just save the ending of it. Of course, thank you, Premiere. Of course, remember everything is in the workroom. So if I need to bring it back the other take, I can. Here we go. Let's take a look at Joe's close-up here. Yeah, I'm gonna really quickly just sort these by what they. No, if I do that, then I'm gonna end up with gaps. I don't necessarily want gaps in this view. So let's go ahead and let's do it this way. Oop, wrong thing. There we go. Go back to the start of that clip. There we go. And yeah, let's go ahead and let's watch this. Again, this dolly was very bouncy, but not something I can't fix. So.
V, are you in there?
And if I can't fix it, I can lean into it and make it part of the, apply an effect to the whole rest of the scene and give it this kind of warped, the whole, whole dream is fucked up kind of sequence. I'm already planning on turning the firelight blue, so. Easy shot.
Violet? V, are you in there? V.
Good. And good. Cut. All right, take 2 is definitely the better of those two, even though they're both pretty good. So this one's getting. This one's not bad. There's certainly stuff I can work with if I really need to. So I'm gonna take this out of here. I'm gonna put it in a different timeline where I'm kind of just keeping all the stuff I'm not using from each scene. So it's like if we I show this to the director and he's like, didn't really love that take of Joe walking up. Do you have anything else? I'm like, well, there was another take that I thought was good, and I know where it is. Editing is organizing. Editing is so much about organization. There's a, I forget what editor it was. It might have been Joe Walker who edited Dune. Had a comment about that's the other close-up. Okay, cool. That if you're working with a director and the director says, "Hey, find me," like where's that shot where this happened? You should be able to do it in under 10 seconds. And so, organization is hugely important in editing. And honestly, I find some peace in it. Okay. Looks like we only did one take of this. Is that true? Yeah, it is. Okay, so we did one take of this, so I know if we're gonna use it, we're using this take. But let's nope, wrong thing. Let's take a look. For anybody wondering if you're interested in Premiere, the full screen shortcut that I'm using, I think full screen is this. There we go. There's full screen. The shortcut I'm using is to get to this is Shift and then the little kind of squiggly thing before one. And if you hit that, if you do Control squiggly thing, you get full screen. If you do Shift squiggly thing, you get brings the panel you're in full screen. But if you click on a different panel, like this one, and do that, you're getting that panel full screen, which can be super useful if you're trying to keyframe stuff. But anyway, that's how I'm doing it. There's your keyboard shortcut for the moment. Anyway, scene.
Violet.
Well, if somebody has questions about what the stuff that we're saying off camera, discussing the setup for a shot, let me know, and I'm happy to talk about that.
V, are you in there?
I think a little bit of stabilizing will fix this.
V.
Let's keep rolling. Back up a little bit. Not in that far. We're gonna do this last couple steps. Then we'll get you and your shadow in there. Okay, so I'm gonna reset and reframe a little bit, just because I like. Yeah, it's a good little moment to have at the end if I want to. If I want to work that shadow into the movie. Cut. That was great. Cool. Okay. So yeah, so I like that take. Let me pull out the ending there. Keep rolling. Just walking up on it. Let's pull that back to to when that shadow gets on him, because that shadow is coming from either me or sound. So let's put a cut there, and we will skip ahead. There you go. He starts moving. So let's delete that, and we've now got these two clips, chosen out and ready to go. All right. Got a few more of these to go through, and then we're gonna start putting the beginning of this thing together, because here we go. Once we kind of get closer to the surfboard stuff, I'm gonna kind of stop and edit the beginning of the scene, because I want to work on that. All right, here we go. I'm gonna go ahead and trim that off, because I know we're not gonna use it, obviously. Alright, let's go back in full screen and let's play. All in all, this is probably the shot I'm going to start the scene with. At some point, we'll have to figure out why this guy is sleeping on his own couch sleeping on his couch in his own apartment, but it's the least crazy
Violet,
thing
are
about
you there?
least crazy thing about this movie. Oh, we did this take totally handheld. Okay. Yeah, reset, changing our light for, because I know there's going to be cuts in this, so I can. I'm like, yeah, mid take, I'm fine changing up the lighting to suit the end of the shot versus the beginning of it,
Violet?
because this looks good. We didn't shoot this widescreen. We didn't plan on using this in a CinemaScope format, but this shot actually really lends itself that way.
V, are you in there?
Welcome to my live stream. We're going to quietly watch a man approach a surfboard over and over and over again.
V.
This was the take of I can do whatever I want. Definitely. So this is a different kind of master take, where instead of it being a solid wide, it's a shot it's a moving master, where instead of having a locked off wide framing, we're kind of going from composition to composition. Yeah, that's how we do it. Beautiful. You can't really tell, but that's Nicolas Cage's face on the surfboard, as is, would be expected. Okay, so that's a good shot to move around through and to find the good spot, the good parts. Let's do that real quick. All right, so the wake up I know is good, and I think that's the only take we have of him waking up. Everything else is, yeah, okay. Everything else is that. So we know we're going to use that. So I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna put a little bit of a cut at the beginning, just so I can, because I know I don't need the whole thing. This is what I have right here is too long. But remember, we're gonna have sound effects, we're gonna have music, so I'm gonna let it run long for now.
Violet?
Him waking up is really good. Actually, really, really love how this looks.
Violet, are you there?
Okay, then the light changes, and here's the thing I can talk about a little bit.
Violet, are you there?
He turns, and I will use that as my cut point to the wide, so that'll cover our intro here, I think. Yeah, adjusting the light.
Violet?
And it says something about the way that JD directs stuff, and the way the energy he brings to a set. Several times throughout this, you will hear me say action. You'll hear me call action on like, hey, let's tweak that moment one more time, and that's because like JD is a very hands-off director. He's a director who like absolutely trusts the people he works with, and so it's not always the norm. But there are moments where I'm the one looking through the camera. I'm the one right up in there with our cast, and I can. So JD is a wonderful, wonderful collaborator, and will trust me to say, hey, before we cut, can we do a little bit extra here? Or let's do a quick reframe.
Violet?
And this will cut in well with the rest of the footage we have of him walking up. But as soon as I cross that line, which I don't really want to do, so as soon as I kind of come to there, everything else we've shot, we are watching it.
Are you in there?
Actually, I think I'm okay before I do that. Hang on.
V, are you in there?
Okay, now I'm about to cross the line. So everything else we've shot. Hang on. There we go. Cool. Everything else we've shot, we have been, for the most part, like once we get to the walking up to the door thing, the camera has always been on Joe's right. The camera's always been over his right shoulder, or looking at him from, like, if the camera's facing him, he's looking slightly to the left of camera, or he's looking slightly to the left, and therefore looking past the right side of the camera. So if I jump over here, this is what's called breaking the 180. And even though I'm doing it as movement, it's not, you can do that, but a shot like, from this side, even though it's dark and I don't want to use it, but a shot from this side will not cut in well with the other footage we have, so I'm going to skip that. I'm going to come back to here when I'm back on that side, and we've got him kind of leaning in. So let's go ahead and delete the rest of that. Let's come in here. We get up here until that light goes off. So that part is okay. But the part I really like is the part here. There we go. Just this ending there. Delete that, clean that up. Okay, cool. So I've got, and this gives us, there we go. Oh man, using widescreen works really well. A little bit of stability for that, and we're in great shape. Okay, cool. So we've got our intro together. And now I want to talk about a couple of cool little things I'm going to do here. 30 minutes into a live stream. That's not bad at all. Okay. So now's where I want to start separating out these clips. At least the ones that I've got. That's the surfboard. That's the push in on that. These are the walk up shots. Let's see. These are the walk up. This is the front. The wake up. Okay, so here's what we got. All right, I know the wake up shot is gonna be, phone's going off. Not sure why. All right. So I know the wake up shot is gonna be this one. I know it's gonna be this shot. It's too good of a close up to not use. So we're gonna take that. I'm gonna bring it back down here to where we left off. Now this is normally I do. Normally I'm only gonna do one scene per timeline. Like each one of these is a little scene, and I'll just eventually we'll put them together as we get into the assembly of the full film. In this case, and I only really do that for features. For short films, I will kind of try to assemble in order, and I will kind of try to assemble on one timeline. But in this case, I've got 3 short little scenes. I've got a scene, kind of an outdoor scene. We've got a firelight scene with his character's younger sister, and then we have this scene. This is a nightmare where he wakes up. So it's all it's over the course of the same evening. It's all like over the course of like 3 or 4 pages in the script. So I'm doing it that way. The other thing that's important is it means I can really highlight the transitions. And in this case, here's how we're gonna do that. This will be fun. And I wanted to kind of do this and kind of jump ahead a little bit in the editing because I want to get this. I want to show off this process because I think this is cool and important. Okay. So we end this last scene with him talking to his sister about their brother who has died. And the last shot I end on is the shot of the fire. We've established that a couple of times in here. There's another shot in here somewhere where we've got the fireplace. I think it's earlier on. Yeah. Anyway, so we've established we've got the fire. We're going to bring that fireplace back and we're going to push in on it. Now we're doing another jump forward in time, but I don't want you to know that. I want you to know we've jumped in time. I don't want you to know that we're in a dream yet, obviously, because it's a dream. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this shot, which is the remainder of the firelight shot, and it's I'm going to take that. I'm going to cut it down to appropriate length, and I'm going to be reusing this shot over and over again. For every wide shot. The next thing I'm going to do, let's see. I want to track some stuff here. I'm going to place some markers. So I want to track this camera tilt. So I'm going to put a marker right about here. That's good. So throw a marker onto the footage. That's a little green guy down there. I don't know if you can see it. I think you'll see it when the playhead moves. And then, once he sits up, once the camera's done moving with him, so somewhere right about there, that's pretty good. I'm going to put a second marker. So I've now got 2 markers on there for this camera move. And then for the rest of this shot, camera's more or less level.
Violet, are you there?
And then the light comes on. I may cut that sooner, but we're going to start with this. So here's what we're then going to do. This will be fun. All right. I keep saying that. I promise. One sec. You guys still hear me? I think we're back. I think we just lost the mic for a sec. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and save the project file because I always get paranoid whenever anything happens. All right. Yeah, looks like we still have. Let's see if we still have sound coming through for you guys.
Violet?
Yeah, okay, cool. We're still getting sound. I'm hearing a little more of the room noise because I've got the headphones on, but I'll make sure you guys are still getting levels. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. Now, one thing I haven't mentioned is that this is the timeline that I'm editing on. This frame, and like if I exported this timeline as a film right now, what you would get is a high definition 2K like render. You get this is a 2K timeline. If I go up to my sequence settings, yeah, 2048 by 858. So a widescreen CinemaScope 2K setting. But the footage we shot all this footage in 4K, which means that if you look here where it says scale, my scale is down to 54% for all these shots, which means I can zoom them in this much and not lose quality. And that is going to be hugely important right now because we're going to make use of it. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to rotate this 90 degrees. I'm going to adjust it a little bit so that I've got the fire center. Actually, I am going to push this a little bit bigger because I want this to be more, I want just the fire in the shot. Just like that. There we go. We're going to do that. Excellent. And then, let's see. I'm going to take my, I'm going to go ahead and throw an opacity mask on this. This is probably going to make the whole stream skip a little bit, so apologies for that. Let's zoom out. Let's put an opacity mask here. Kind of right. Yeah, kind of get that centered. Going to pull the edges in so that it's a bit of an oval. The same thing here. Gonna add them. I'm gonna bring this a little more out. Same thing here. So it's not quite an oval, a little more like an egg. And then I'm going to feather the heck out of that. Cool. So now you don't have quite those harsh edges anymore. And then we're gonna take our opacity down to 50% for now. That's not nearly enough. Turn this to overlay. There we go. Let's take the opacity back up to 100%. X. All right, that's going to take a little more work than it's got right now, but let's put this back to fit. Yeah, that needs to go. Oh, that needs to go. That's what I need to do. Okay, hang on. Yeah, we're going to go with a soft light thing. I'm going to go back to my mask. I'm going to do mask expansion here, and I'm going to make it smaller, which will help turn it into a bit of a flicker. And then we're going to go to effects. We're going to bring up a blur. Gaussian blur is usually a good one. That'll do the job. Bring that up and then crank that up a good bit. Nope, still not enough. Let's go really high with this. There we go. So we got a little bit of a firelight flicker on his face. And we're not done yet. We got a lot more we can do with this. Let's put that away. Actually, let's close the mask. I want this back to overlay. There we go. That's looking better. And this isn't color graded yet. So once I color grade it, I'm going to push the fire to a really nice gold. And it's going to stand out really nicely on the shot of him. So if I take this off, Looks like that. If I take it on, turn it back on, now you got firelight on his face. But we're not done because we put these markers in here. Come on, go back to that one frame. There we go. And going back to the fire, I'm going to keyframe my position and my rotation. And then I'm going to go to the next marker right here. And I'm going to set my rotation back to 0. I'm going to turn my blur off for a sec. And put my I might turn opacity off. It's just going to, there we go, cool. So now I can adjust this so it looks the way it should. And technically he sat up a little bit onto that side, so I can pull the fire over a little bit like that. And he sat up. So now the fire, just by itself, is going to do this. Like that. I'm going to take both of these and go to temporal. Actually, I'm going to do it like this. I'm going to take these two. Temporal interpolation. We're going to ease. Let's see. We're going to ease out of them. And then these two, we're going to ease into. And that will make this move a little bit softer, a little bit smoother. There we go. Just like that. Good. So now I can turn my opacity back on, and we're gonna get the overlay, and I can turn the blurring back on. And now, as Boogie sits up, his character's name is Boogie, by the way, the firelight should still be casting on him, though it does seem to be. I think I might need to zoom in a little bit more. Let's do that. Turn the blur off. Let's go back to here. Again, we've got our two things. We're gonna do scale, push this in, go to the next one. I'm going to zoom into 250. Bring this up to where the fire is widest. And over just like that. So now, let's do the same thing here. Yeah, I can set this to just, yeah. Oh, now I got to do it. I can do Bezier. That'll work. So yeah, the fire rotates but isn't super noticeably changed. Let's go back to there. I'm gonna push this over. Nope, not up and down. I want to go left and right. I want to go here a little bit more, like that. Good. So now, again, opacity back on. Gotcha. And blur back on. Gotcha. Hello. And so as he sits up, we're still keeping the firelight sort of lighting his face. And I will adjust this more once we get into color work, but that is... I'll probably adjust this even more based on where the fire should be, honestly. Because the fire should be on a little more of an angle right now anyway. Go back to here. Because he's going to rotate some more. That's all fine, and then yeah, that move there.
Violet?
This move right here. So I'm going to copy these keyframes, copy and paste them to there, so that everything in between pretty much stays the same. And then he moves here. He does that move, and so same deal. We're going to turn off this and this, and we're going to rotate a little bit more so that we are now going to make sure that we match with where the fire should be in his world. Because yeah, we're on a bit of an angle. The couch is a horizontal, is a.
Violet, are you there?
There we go. Yep. And then one more time. When he stands up. So again, I'm going to do the same thing I just did. I'm going to take these two, copy and paste. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here on this timeline so I can work on this move. And then when he stands up, we're going to turn this off, and we're going to rotate this back to 0. Maybe not quite 0, maybe like, yeah, like that much. 16%. That's pretty good. I'm gonna bring this down a bit.
Violet, are you there?
If I turn this all back on,
Violet, are you there?
cool. One last thing I want to do, and this is, again, I'm not entirely sure where I'm going to put this cut in terms of where this moment's going to be, but boom, when that turns blue, we're going to do one more thing. I feel like the angle on this is still a little bit off. I turn this on to the overlay. I feel like the angle's still a little bit off. Let's do a, what am I looking for? Let's do a new keyframe here. I think something like that is closer to correct. So, hang on, reset this. Yeah, let's keep it at 0. Let's keep that to 0. So we're gonna go back to here and set that to 0. There we go. We're gonna delete this. And then we put the blur back on. And it looks fine.
Violet, are you there?
And the last thing I want to do is when this turns blue, let's see. We're gonna do a. I'm gonna put a cut here, just on this. I'm gonna remove all my keyframes because I don't need any of that. We're not doing anything different with the movement anymore. The mask is gonna stay. The overlay is gonna stay. That's all gonna be the same. But, and this is a subtle effect, but I think it's something that I think is cool and important. Let's see. Is that fire still going? I think it still is. If I turn this track off, yeah, it's still there. Cool. So we're gonna come back to our effects here. We're gonna do, where's our color effects that I can play with here? I think tint might be where I want to go with this. Or color keying. Color keying actually might be the better option. We're gonna turn the blur off and the overlay off so I can see the fire again. Let's see if I push it to, if I try tint, is that gonna give me, actually might work. All right. So I want to keep the blacks black, but I want to map. It's a couple of times. What I want to do is change the color of the fire. A couple different options to do that. Let me try keying. Color key is usually a lot of fun. That's not going to be. That's not what I want to do. Actually, now I realize it. Let me think. There's a bunch of options for how to do this. Let's see if the change color plugin still works. Because I want to change this color. I want to change my yellows. And then change hue transform here to a blue. And I've got a tolerance thing that I can widen that up and just get the fire there. You can have it be feathered a little bit because it's going to be feathered anyway and blurred out, so that's fine. You can darken it up a bit. We can push the saturation. We can adjust the hue a little bit more to a more. There we go. That's closer to the blue that we're talking about. And so now, if I turn the blur back on and the opacity back on, we get the moment that.
Are you there?
Yeah, whole thing turns blue. As a basic starting effect, I'm actually really happy with how that looks. So save. Sweet. All right, so we've already picked out some footage. Let's come back and pick out some more footage. We've got a few more shots to do. This is the thing I've noticed about editing. Editing is a process of slow motion multitasking. There is so much that goes into editing, especially if you're not working with a team. If you watch the credits on any big Hollywood movie, in like the main credits before they start scrolling, you're gonna have an editor. But eventually, down in the scrolling credits, you are gonna get to the editing department, and you're gonna have. I mean, apart from having colorists and visual effects teams and assistant colorists and so on, you're going to have a bunch of assistant editors. And, excuse me, a lot of what they do is, the footage gets handed off to the editing department. assistant editors and interns are going to be the ones who take that. They're going to put it into the editing software. They're going to do all the sorting. They're going to go through. They're going to check the script supervisor or the assistant director's notes and see what shots were labeled as good, what shots were labeled as having some issues, what shots. They're going to organize everything. They're going to cut off the beginnings and endings, and they're going to get put together a ready to edit package for the main editor, that has all of everything together and everything sorted and everything kind of, picked out and ready to go. And that can be like, if that's how you're doing it, that's great. And if you're the main editor, then you get to come in, everything's been done for you. You can sit down and start picking out takes and picking out clips and organizing. And I know some editors who, there are some main editors who don't touch the editing bay, who will they hang out in the room with the director, and they have assistant editors actually doing the cuts and stuff. But there's plenty, being hands-on is depends how you want to work and what your environment allows you to work in. That having been said, if you are editing on your own, and it can be very, very easy to get burned out working on one thing working on one thing over and over again. And editing does have a lot of things that are, all right, we're going to sit and edit this and just do the same thing for a while. Syncing audio is one of those things. Going through clips and picking out stuff is one of those things. So what I tend to do is I get to the point where I'm like, all right, I'm starting to not connect with what I'm doing at the moment anymore. Let me work on something else. Let me work on this transition. Let me work on something like that. This is a little effect I wanted to do. And then I can go back and come back here. I'm like, all right, let's look at some more footage. That's exciting. And then when I eventually go back to looking at this again, because this is obviously first pass, there's going to be a million more. I can say, oh, well, I obviously missed something super obvious. Let me fix that. And now it's the time I took to take a break, and the contrast between doing one project and doing one thing and doing another, and the way it affects my brain gives me a lot more to work with, which is great. And helps me kind of make each thing feel fresh, which is what you want it to be. You want to sit down with all these cool new ideas. So here we go. Let's watch some more footage. Get Premiere back on board here. On board. It's a surfing movie. All right, cool. So we looked at that. Let's save. Let's drink a little bit of tea. Out of a Hamlet mug, by the way. And then, let's watch these clips. And these clips are, there is no sound, there is no camera sound. These were shot in, I believe, in some level of slow motion, not super slow, but some level of it. So, we're gonna watch these quietly, and I'm probably gonna talk because otherwise it's just silence, and silence can be terrifying. The one downside of shooting slow motion and not recording, and because my camera doesn't record sound when I go to slow mo, just because it would be distorted, it wouldn't be usable. So the only problem is now I can't hear when we say action. There we go. And the reason this is in slow motion is because of that. Because I wanted the surfboard drop to have its power. So. All right, so first cut, that was the first take. Let me do it again. Not sure I've said it enough. This movie is called Last Wave, The Curse of the Nicolas Cage Surfboard. And it is about a killer surfboard with Nicolas Cage's face on it. There we go. Ooh, hitting the camera. But, honestly, a better take. It's more interesting. Especially for a dream sequence. Okay, there's Cage again. I think the second take is probably what I'm going to go with. Let me go ahead and trim that out. All right, so first take was okay. First take doesn't do a whole lot for me, just because that drop was kind of lackluster. This one, until he hits the camera, then we do close-ups, and then we do. Now we moved around a good bit. Hang on, did we do another take? Me messing with settings. At the time, I'm going to be very sad I didn't hear what I was saying. Actually, hang on a second. Let's undo getting rid of that because that last shot might be good for... Okay, yeah, so get it hitting. This is not a moment to hit the camera, but like the drop itself is more interesting, so we're gonna keep that. Oh, redo. Cool. So we can take, and we will be adding the sound effect of the drop. Anyway, and probably having an echo on it. Our EB is amazing with doing sound work. So okay, that's just him putting it down. Okay, so we're not going to use that then. All right, so we got a good take. Let's pull this back. That's all him walking up. Okay, let's look at this. Only a few more to go through. So here we go. Just got a couple of long ones here, and then we've got it. Nope. Make the window big, not the timeline. Here we go. Let's watch the board. Notice again, filming everything from this side of the room so that we can cut this together and it doesn't feel like we're jumping the 180 line. There's the reveal. It's not a good dream if it doesn't go crazy by the end. So. I'm gonna cut it there because I do like everything moving there. I think that is, once it's moving without the camera, I don't need the camera moving. I want there we go. Get the closet sort of doors moving and get the board sort of shaking there. Get a little bit of chaos. Like we feel like the board, something's going to explode through the board, which is good. All right. So we got those two clips. Let's watch this next one, which is our longest shot of the scene. Mostly because I think it's going to have a bunch of cuts in it. All right. I'm going to watch this whole thing and then I'm going to talk about it. But in my head, I'm making mental notes for what I can use and what I can't. Our director with the rolled up script in his back pocket. I forgot how bleak it was out that day. You can see the window out there. We were shooting in New Jersey in February. It was a bleak day. I'm brightening this up to get the levels right. Here we go. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I wanted this to look like from the start. And the board falls, which is good. Little hand peeking through there. Fast forward a little bit. I think I'm adjusting lenses again. A lot of editing is this. A lot of editing is just the sitting and watching. Hey, Nick. Okay, this ending looks like it's pretty good. There we go. It can move while I push in on it, and that is good. And then it falls out of shot. Slides down. Cool. Excellent. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and trim that one up because I just want to get that done. All right. Back up to there. Put a cut. You know, this beginning was pretty short and not super great. Let's go ahead and skip ahead. I'm going to pull that back and get just that push in because that seems useful. Let's get rid of this stuff. Nope, not the ending. I want to get rid of the beginning. There we go. So a little bit of camera shake that I can clean up if I want to. I'll get this push in that we can use for, yeah, as Boogie gets close to the door, and then eventually it's going to start shaking. There we go. A little bit of chaos. Almost looks like rolling waves, or kind of, yeah, gives it a bit thing. Surfboard on there. All right. I don't want it to drop here. I think I want it to drop later. And we reset. Board falling out of shot. We're going to cut there at the end, and then we're going to come back. Already moving there. I'll wait till I get my lens in order there, like that. That's when the movement starts, so cool. We can delete this. And we've just trimmed that shot down to 2 clips. Now those clips are now going to come over here where they'll hang out with the rest of them that we can potentially use. And now that if I end up using the ending there, I move this to the end. I'll be able to cut between the fall there and the fall here. And that'll work well. So, and now we're getting to now we're actually going to open the closet and see what's in there, because you're supposed to, because the Nicolas Cage Surfboard is our main villain. What else could we be coming after? Well, coming at us. Well, it's a dream. So here we go. Put a cut there because I know I don't need that. And this is a more traditional shot with dialogue and stuff, so that I'll be able to judge. It'll be a little bit easier to really choose my favorite, I hope.
I'm a vampire. 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 I'm a vampire.
Anybody's a fan of Vampire's Kiss? There's your reference. I'm gonna go ahead and get these kind of cleaned up to where I want them. Get them all sort of sorted here so that I can just watch through the actual takes. Here we go. All right, let's watch. First take, rehearsal, and figuring it out. Here we go. Second take.
I'm a vampire. I'm a vampire. I'm a vampire. I'm a vampire. I'm a vampire.
There you go. There's your there's your wake up moment. I know that's like 10 times louder than anything we've had on stream so far, so sorry about that.
I'm a vampire. I'm a vampire. I'm a vampire. I'm a vampire. I'm a vampire.
And that movement is gonna be what wakes us up. I love that take. That take is my favorite so far. It's going. I'm moving that up. Actually, hang on a second. I'm gonna take these two. First one I know we can't use. Didn't like the first one. Second one, not a bad take. It's going in my other timeline here that I call the RHSC.
Cut.
So we take 3 or take 4.
I'm a vampire. I'm a vampire. I'm a vampire. I'm a vampire. I'm a vampire.
And there's the wake up. Both of those are good. Those are both good wake up moments. So I'm gonna keep both. That's not cut there necessarily. Let's cut a little bit later. Cool. And that will be. And if you're wondering why the camera veers off at the end, is because we talked about the next shot being this. Which I'm gonna skip ahead to. Yeah, we skip ahead to the same camera move. The camera is, kind of coming up on his face and then tilts up, kind of up and to the right. And then this shot does the same thing. Tilts up and to the right, but lands in the close-up of him. So if we put those together, hopefully that looks like a single, it's jarring in the right way. Okay, next shot here. That obviously has the camera shadow in it, but that's only because I'm using it for specific moments. Because once the door opens, we can use this to make this more chaotic. So we can delete that. We can watch this.
I'm a vampire. I'm a vampire. I'm a vampire. I'm a vampire. I'm a vampire.
And then, yeah. Once the camera shadow shows back up, we stop there.
I'm a vampire.
Cut.
It's great. I love that he just locks him back in the closet. What we'd all do if we saw our. By the way, this is like this character who's coming out of the closet is one of Joe's best friends, character Boogie's best friends, who Boogie doesn't know it, but we do. Has already become a victim of the Cage Surfboard. So this dream is kind of a premonition.
I'm a vampire. I'm a vampire. I'm a vampire. I'm a vampire.
All right, gets him locked back up. That one's not bad.
I'm a vampire. I'm a vampire. I'm a vampire. I'm a vampire.
There we go. Wait for it to actually grab him, and you'll notice. You might notice that the audio here is blue, and that's because it's camera audio. It's not audio from Eric Brown recording it, and that's because we're not seeing our vampire here. Because we're not seeing him, we're gonna switch out the audio in this take for the good audio in the other one.
Vampire. Good. Keep rolling.
And second take.
I'm a vampire.
There we go. We can delete all this. Put that there. Boom.
I'm a vampire. I'm a vampire. I'm a vampire. I'm a vampire. I'm a vampire.
I think what's probably going to happen is when we do as we do kind of the ongoing, he gets the closet closed, we're going to use some of the audio from a take we don't use, or just repeat it, and just have it go quieter so that he's still in the closet going, I'm a vampire. Because it feels weird that he would stop talking once you put him back in the closet. It's a very flimsy closet. And then we have our last shot here, which is Violet, who was in the firelight scene, or the fireside conversation scene back at the start. So, her, who's Boogie's younger sister. We've got a shot of her sitting here being creepy and terrifying, so we're gonna put that in. And let me tell you, like, there's ups and downs to working with child actors. Telling kids to do, like, in a scene to be creepy and to, like, lean into being just goofy and scary is, like, they get it. Very easy to do. Alright, so this is supposed to be Boogie's point of view. So the camera's going to move with his eye line. So I can delete the stuff before that. So he has just closed the closet, he's turned around, and then as he looks, we're going to see this. Cool. That's a first take. Actually, I'm gonna let this play. You'll have to hear us talking through the shot. Alright, and then and sometimes, like, when you're shooting a movie, like, wrong thing. A lot of the time, like, obviously you do multiple takes. For stuff like this, when it's smaller, we do tend to sort of be like, all right, let's do a bunch of them in the same take. Ooh, yeah, that smile. That's just creepy, especially once I get this color graded. Cut there. All right. So that is the varying pieces of the scene. We've got the wake up stuff, which we'll come back to next time. Let's go ahead and let's see. There's anything else I wanted to do here. There's another thing I wanted to do here just to show you how to do it. It's probably the last thing we do for the day. So I'm not sure which of these wide shots I'm going to use. I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to use them because I do really like the close-up that we have that we've already kind of put the fire on. And if I do that, I'm going to do the same thing. If I put the fire, if I use one of these wides, I'm going to do the same thing. Put the fire overlay on him here and turn it blue when the light comes on. But here's the thing I want to talk about. In this shot, when the blue light comes on,
V, is that you?
like, he pretty immediately catches it and reacts. Which I don't know if you can see because it's a really dark shot. In this shot, when the blue light comes on, it takes him a second.
Is that you?
And that's when he sees it. And if I'm going to use this shot, and I like this shot, I really do. I like the performance. I don't know visually, I'm going to have to see if it fits within the storytelling language, but I do like the shot. But the point is, let's see. So the light comes on there. And he needs to react. He reacts to it there, right, like that. So that is technically where I want the. I want the light to come on there, right when he's turning his head. So here's how I do that. I'm gonna make a duplicate of the shot. So same shot right on top. I'm going to. Do we have this? Oh, we got the pre-roll on here, which actually helps me in this case. But the good news is I can take this. I can cut. We can cut off the audio there. Good. Let's come back to here when he turns. I'm gonna go ahead and throw another marker on this clip so I know where to look. I don't need it on both, just need it on this one. Oh, it's going on both anyway. That's interesting because it's technically the same file. That's a cool, interesting thing Premiere does. All right, so now I'm gonna back up to when that light is off. I'm gonna pull this shot all the way back. I'm gonna put this. So yeah, so here is So this is where it's all dark before the light comes on, and then yeah, at the end of this clip is when the light comes on, and if the marker here is where I want it to come on. So I'm gonna push this forward up to that marker. I'm gonna pull this up so they start at the same spot, and now the light will come on when I want it to. But you'll notice he jumps in the wrong spot because we've got this whole clip that we're watching. The way we're gonna fix that is we're gonna use another mask. So we're gonna go here. This time we're gonna use a square mask. Actually, I don't even need a square mask. Let me do a couple of things real quick. Let's delete that mask. Let me go to I have a graphics thing here, and I can throw an adjustment layer in. Adjustment layer just is gonna brighten. All right, I thought I got rid of that mask. Why is there a mask on this? Yeah, okay, there's not a mask. Okay, we're good. So an adjustment layer is a layer you can apply effects to that will affect everything below it, so it's not the individual clips. And this is just a real brief thing I'm going to do. Let's go to my effects panel. Color works. Where's Lumetri color? Lumetri color. It's just your basic Premiere color grading thing. I'm going to go down to here to basic correction. And this is super rough, and I don't care about it. I'm going to go to exposure, and I'm going to turn it. I'm going to crank it up. I'm going to brighten that all the way up. I'm going to set this thing to scale that up all the way, so now we can see the whole shot, and it looks super bright and looks super janky, and that's totally fine. There we go. Okay, so now what I can do is I can come down to here and I can create a mask. I'm going to do this with the pen tool, and basically what I'm going to do is just get all the darkness, just a square like that. I don't think I need to be any more creative than that. So now if I was to turn this bottom layer off, yeah, you're left with black, and then the top layer, which of course has the effect on. If I turn this off, now it just looks black, but and then this ends, and now you have the whole thing. If I turn this back on, I'm gonna turn this back on as well because it's easier to see. If I come back here, all right, basically let's full screen this so you guys can see it. Let's set this thing back to thank you Premiere for saving. Set this thing, here we go. There we go. From 25% back to fit so we can see the whole clip. And this is going to be, yeah, it's going to look distorted because I've cranked the exposure up. But now, just in darkness here, in darkness he stands up. Remember, this side is just the other clip being darker. You can't. Is
that you?
And then when he turns and looks, we instead of having the light come on when it did, now we've just turned that clip off. So that,
Is that you?
boom, and he can jump and look at it. And so that's a real quick way with masking. I can delete the adjustment layer, so now it looks like this. And when I get to the actual color grading, I'm going to brighten this up a little bit and make it much more specific. But there we go. And now he can react to the light the way when we want him to, and we'll add music and sound effects and stuff, and that'll really make it pop. So another quick little behind the scenes tweaking. And like I said, this is nothing I've done today is designed to hide mistakes. Nothing I've done today is designed to make up for things that went wrong on set. It's to enhance what is there and to kind of use the techniques I have in editing to make the storytelling, the storytelling of the film best fit the story that we want to tell. The same way, like on set, like if we're shooting, we could switch lenses to get a different, if we go to a wide lens to get more movement, or to get a more overall profile, or go to a tighter lens to get to compress things and get really soft or shallow depth of field. And it's all done in service of enhancing the storytelling toward the direction of where you want the story to be told. And these are just these little techniques with masking and with overlays and stuff are just the basic techniques of the basic kind of lens choices of post-production. So with all that having been said, let me go ahead and switch back to, I think this button will do it, bring it back to just me. I got one more little thing I want to show you guys before we totally wrap up here. I'm gonna quickly open up a file, which will be here. There it is. All right, perfect. Sorry you guys heard that for a second. I'm gonna go bring this over. You'll see in a sec. So real quick before we wrap up, I want to share something cool with you. The short film that I wrote and directed called The Funnel Web just has finished post-production. It is, I don't know if any of this is on my YouTube channel. I know I was editing this on Twitch for a little while, but I think that was years ago. I think Twitch got rid of it. But so we're gonna, but it is done. It is out of post-production, and I would like to share the trailer with you, which will be really cool. So very quickly, we're gonna go to we're gonna take this off and just go to my screen, and we're gonna watch the trailer.
How long do we have?
9 minutes.
Finalize a plan with me.
So, Furry and Apple Cheeks grab him. We lead the chase so we can be sure to lose.
The Amber Alert goes out with the accompanying sympathy. He gets a couple of days.
As the network's golden boy. Then, a rental letter arrives at his house. He pays it. The kid comes back, and
Everyone forgets that he's on trial for all those construction workers' deaths. Wouldn't anything be easier than this?
no, that's the point. Escalation is so easy. The bigger story always wins.
And so that is The Funnel Web. That's a short film that I wrote and directed, and that is going to be heading to film festivals. So I wanted to share that trailer with you. It's on YouTube if you want to watch it. The conceit of this is it's a crime film. It's about our kind of, as a society's like reactions to the increasingly nonsensical expectations of the world we live in, and it's kind of structured where you've got three pairs of people, one of them being the people up at the top who are enacting these insane schemes with no regard for what happens to the people on the bottom rung. You've got the people kind of middle management who are hero worshiping the upper echelons and not realizing how badly a position they're putting themselves in. And then you got the people on the bottom who are basically, this is a survival job that they don't want to do but kind of have to, and just sort of the discussions of nonsense in all of those directions. And the whole film, you kind of get from the trailer, is structured as a single conversation. So every single scene cuts and leads into the next one, so the whole thing plays like that. It's a film that I'm really, really proud of, and I'm really happy to be able to start sharing it with people, because it's everything I've talked about in editing, everything I've talked about in enhancing performance, everything I've talked about with using visual language to tell a story, I feel very happy with in this film. And so it's a kind of a good, it feels good to have an example of my work out there that I think checks a lot of boxes for myself. So with all that said, thank you all for joining. Thank you for coming and being part of this. I'm looking to be doing this more regularly. Probably, I think my eventual goal is to do 3 streams a week. One film stream editing, one photography editing stream, and then a stream probably either on the weekends or maybe ends up being maybe the Friday night slot is where this goes. Where it's just conversations, where we just talk about the film industry, we talk about photography, we talk about whatever. I answer any kind of questions people have, and if no one has questions, then I'll just I'll review movies through bizarre lenses, and I'll complain that like Empire Strikes Back is a horrible movie because there's not nearly enough like brother sister kissing in it. I don't know, it'll be weird. Don't make me do that. So yeah, that'll be I guess New Hope and Return of the Jedi would be inferior movies based solely on the lack of brother sister kissing. That's the reviews we could be doing. Aren't you glad you're here? Aren't you glad you've tuned into this? But anyway, like I said, thank you for joining me. Thank you for being part of this, of whatever chaos is going on in my head. It's a blast to be able to share my work with you, to be able to share my process, and to hopefully be able to, to be a resource for you. If there's any work that you are doing or anything that, if you're, any option I have to make this a thing that helps you and helps people who want to create, is hugely important to me, and I'd love the chance to do that. And this is the platform we have right now. This is what we're going to work with. So, thank you again. If you want to see more of my work, you can go to erichackler.com, which I will be putting in the description more regularly. So you can see my work there. If you want to hire me, my contact info is on the site. If you've got a film you want to edit, if you've got a film you want to shoot, if you just want to pay me to stay far away from you, all of these are options. And then if you are interested in photography, this obviously was a film stream, but I do photography, obviously. If you go to erichackler.com/photography, you've got links to my pages there. You've got a portfolio, you've got my Etsy store. If you want to support me, you can buy a print. If you want to, take one of my photos and bring it to your home or give it as a gift. Additionally, I also sell postcards, which are cool. These got some of my favorite photos from around the United States on them. Fully functional postcards. You can mail them to whoever you want, and they all have a QR code on them. So whoever gets them can scan that QR code, and you get to add your postcard to a map, and then from there, we can see where all the postcards have gone. And so it's just, the whole world. It's about connection. It's about bringing everything together. Whether I'm editing a film and putting shots together, or I'm talking to people and bringing, talented people together. It's all about connection. So, with that said, thank you for being part of this. Again, thank you for joining me. This has been a fun session of AfterCut. I'm looking forward to doing so much more with you. But in the meantime, we be safe, be well, create more art, make a difference, and we'll do this again. See you next time.